All right, here we are. It's Monday night. We've had a full day of press conferences from the relative comfort of our own private room here.
Giant ceilings.
With very high ceilings. Very high ceilings. Let's just run down what happened to these press conferences before we forget, because it's just been a damn blur.
At 9 p.m., it just all goes right out.
Like, wait a minute, what even happened? So we started with Microsoft.
Brace yourself! Where's the rest of your game?
Like a malevolent god.
We like dominoes.
You? Yes, you.
When are you bringing back our favorite dance franchise?
The malevolent god.
So they opened with Call of Duty, which it seemed like they've been closing on that for a little while there, but they opened with that thing. Well, kind of cool.
It's a strong demo. You know, someone who doesn't play a lot of Call of Duty, that was more interesting than anything I've seen them do in a while.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'll see you on the other side.
Then they went on to Assassin's Creed Unity, where we learned it was going to be 4-player co-op. What do you think, Patrick? Is that...
Well, mostly we're just trying to figure out exactly what that means, right? Like, so there's 4-player co-op, but, you know, at this conference at Ubisoft, we didn't really get a whole lot of clarification on whether, is that required? Like, are there, like you've mentioned, like AI partners, that could be terrifying.
Yeah, that sounds scary. Yeah.
How is that integrated? So curious to see how that actually works within someone that likes to play single-player Assassin's Creed.
Absolutely, yeah. Like it seems like it opens up potential, but you know, I don't necessarily. It could be really limiting depending on how they build it.
Yeah.
Here comes a new challenger!
Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition EX Plus Alpha Dash. The DLC for Dead Rising 3 that is out today. They sent a code for that, and now I just want to go somewhere and play that. It looked like it was a big Capcom fan fest thing, like Zombie Bison and
like a huge like M. Bison boss going on. Tofu from Resident Evil 2. Like, whoa,
how do you feel as a resident Mike Hager editor? How do you feel about that?
They did a spinning pile driver, so that's really all I could possibly ask for.
Yeah. Then they announced Halo, the Master Chief Collection, Halo 1 through 4 in one big package. It seems like they're trying to do right by it. You know, when they did the Anniversary Collection for Halo 1, all the multiplayer stuff was run in Halo Reach. Now they're trying to run all those games on their individual engines so the multiplayer plays right. So you'll be able to play Halo 1 over the internet, which you haven't necessarily been able to do before in its original state. So,
is there a reason why they would want to do it to the original engines? Is that like more just like
it's the fans want the rules and the settings and all that stuff, the physics of those games. They changed it over time, so there's reason to want that to be basically to make it as faithful as possible.
Right.
When it comes back to those original games. And they're giving Halo 2 the anniversary treatment, so it'll get terminals and stuff that point to Halo 5, which I still think is a really weird thing to do, but hey, that's what they're going to do it.
And he's crouching on me. Okay.
New Tomb Raider. Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I think is kind of a bad name.
It's a really bad name. But, the framing device they used with the psychiatrist and Lara Croft going through some shit before becoming the Tomb Raider, that looked pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you think they'll use that in the game at all?
It's possible. I mean, honestly, I was more excited by the other Tomb Raider game that was announced.
Yeah. So it's like, was it like Tomb of Osiris? Or
yeah, which is basically a sequel to The Guardian of Light, which is like the really neat top-down co-op game from a couple years ago.
Right, yeah. Witcher, you guys saw The Witcher hunting a griffin?
Fucking Witcher,
yeah,
man.
it looks fantastic. I mean, it seems like they're trying to, I don't know if they're trying to out Skyrim, but they're adding open world stuff to a more linear sort of action adventure game, and it seems to be working out really well for them.
Yeah, that demo they showed last year was like one of the main highlights of E3, and that demo they showed today was really good. So I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah, Phantom Dust seems like it's a remake of the initial game. You seem excited.
As our Phantom Dust editor, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, Phantom Dust is like this, in terms of the few cult classics that probably are worth bringing back from the original Xbox era. Phantom Dust is a game that no one has really done, these sort of deck building action game that they had done in Phantom Dust, and you know, when they showed that trailer, I was like, there's no way they're making a sequel, and they're not. Like they're updating the gameplay and graphics, but it is largely just doing an H, kind of like Killer Instinct.
Right.
Like, it's
But
bringing
Killer
it
Instinct's
back.
a new game. I mean,
but you know, obviously they introduced Killer Instinct first, and then talked about Phantom Dust. So it's kind of, it sounds like, you know, whether this is a new initiative or just them like trying to find smart ways of re-envisioning like old franchises. Like this is one that like. Not a lot of people know this game, but I think when a lot of people experience what makes Phantom Dust different, I think they're going to be excited because it really hasn't been done since.
Yeah, and then they ended up closing with a new Crackdown game.
We like dominoes.
Didn't call it Crackdown 3, just called it Crackdown. But you know, they're talking a big game about the multiplayer in that. They kind of showed a CG trailer that, you know, and they showed a lot of destruction, which looked kind of nice, and hopefully that'll pan out. As someone who liked the first Crackdown and, you know, like any sane person, thought the second Crackdown was a real bummer, and thought that Windows Phone Crackdown game. I'm not going to even talk about that. Microsoft seemed to have a pretty good show overall. It felt like just a solid rush of games. You know, some decent third-party stuff, some decent first-party stuff. Like it's you know, just nothing super flashy, nothing that's going to change the world, but stuff that looked pretty good. So it felt all right coming out of that thing.
Yeah, they were real committed. They said they were going to come in with games, and it was games. Like, you know, nothing that really maybe blew your mind. There was the other last big one was actually the Platinum game.
Oh right, yeah. Called
I can't quite get the name down, but yeah, you know, Kamiya came on stage. You know, the creator of Vanquish, Bayonetta, all sorts of other action games, and he loves dragons. I read like a statement on their website afterwards. He's like, I love dragons, and like this is his dragon game. So
okay, well,
I'm excited to see what exactly that is.
We'll see how Kamiya's dragon period goes. But once Microsoft was over, everyone took off and went to EA for the EA press conference.
We're doing the show a little differently though, so let me set the stage. We've got games here today that are just a few months from being done, and with others, we'll go behind the scenes. We'll see early designs, concept visuals, and raw prototypes of just some of what's to come over the next few years. We'll explore interesting worlds, epic landscapes, and ridiculous action. Everything we've got for you here today is tied together by a common thread. A commitment to put our players first. A commitment to create amazing games. Games that connect, inspire, challenge, and entertain us. And a commitment to listen to you.
For us, it's all about getting to the fun fast.
Laughing so hard. He dies of laughter.
This is the foundation for Electronic Arts and the inspiration behind what we have for you here today.
What a weird show that was.
He dies of laughter.
So they were on TV. It's important to know. These first two press conferences were on television, so maybe they got paced a little differently because of that, I think. But EA opened with Battlefront, didn't really show any footage. It was just like, here's actual early in-engine footage of a stormtrooper's face. And you're like, all right, that's okay. And DICE got out there and said, like, we really care about Star Wars!
Visiting the Lucas archives to capture the actual models and props used in the movies was an incredibly emotional experience.
They do.
Which is like, I feel like that's the emptiest statement anyone could ever make. It's like, as game developers, we think Star Wars is cool. It's like, no shit.
Yeah.
Bunch of fucking sci-fi nerds everywhere you look. Dragon Age looked kind of cool. I don't know, like kind of actiony. I'm not a huge fan of the franchise, but you know, like that looked kind of neat.
Hard to get a sense of how it played, though.
Exactly.
Right? Like they showed the tactical view in like a PowerPoint slide that they quickly brushed over, which is like, and all that stuff that you really want.
That
it's
feels
there,
like when they took
the
cockpit view out of Grid or something. It was just like you almost just was no one ever used that shit anyway. So I don't know about that.
I feel like it showed better at the Microsoft thing than it did at the EA thing. Like they didn't show as much interesting stuff there.
Right. Yeah. But then they got into some weird territory where they're showing games that aren't games yet, or something like that, where they showed a little bits and pieces of Mass Effect kind of concept stuff and another new IP that BioWare is working on. Not really much to say about Mass Effect other than they showed some stuff and played the music, and
that music's still good.
That music is still good. So we've known that
don't redo that.
Yeah, we've known that they've been looking to continue the Mass Effect franchise for some time. So it's good to see them reiterate it, but there was no detail there.
Well, it started. Yeah, they started this like sort of weird part of this EA press conference where they had promised 6 new games, and we got other than Hardline getting leaked early, we got 6 new games, but it felt like the joke was kind of like EA early access. Like it was neat to see really early stuff, but it also felt kind of odd. It
felt like that they just had to fill time. Like they realized, like, we got to put on a TV show, you guys. Like we don't have enough games for that. And just the pacing of that whole thing seemed really strange to me. They showed The Sims 4, which has a character creator and some other stuff. That's The Sims looks all right. UFC is out like next week. They showed a bunch of sports games, but they also showed a new game from Criterion, which I didn't think would be possible. I don't know how many people work for Criterion. Last I heard, it was just like a dozen people sitting somewhere in the UK, and they are working on something that a couple people said like, it's like Pilot Wings or something, but it's like ATVs and hang gliders and planes and helicopters and stuff, and it's not cars, and it's beyond cars, and they don't have a name for it. They don't have a release date. It's just like, I don't know, we're prototyping something over here. Maybe it'll get made. So I wonder if like now EA's on the hook to actually make this game, or if like it raises the stakes if they ever have to cancel it.
Yeah, I mean, the demo was super unfocused, or the video was super unfocused. Like it was just a lot of concepts kind of mishmashed together into something that could be a game, I guess.
And then just like cut to a guy sitting at a table going like, basically saying like, we're fucking around. We're iterating really fast, and that's cool.
And that's not a good look for a press conference. Like, I understand why they did it. They're stretching, but like, that's not a thing you want to show people.
Exactly. Golf is back.
Great.
No Tiger Woods, but instead like just basically golfing on a battlefield map, which is ridiculous. That's not the main focus of it, but it was like the thing that they showed that got regular people excited.
It got us to wait, what?
Golf.
Yeah. Like smelling salts for the golf franchise.
Yeah, because like they showed some regular golf, and it was like hitting a golf ball over a battleship, and like, well, that's fucking crazy. Like, why not? Sure. Let's see. That seems like it was pretty much most of the big stuff. They showed some more sports stuff, obviously, but then Battlefield Hardline. That was the game that they kind of closed the show on, which is a bummer because all that stuff leaked. And that thing looks like a mod for Battlefield 4. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, it looks like a smaller Battlefield 4, cops and robbers, city streets, police vehicles, criminal vehicles, fighting over piles of money, and this sort of stuff. But like the progression and all the other stuff just seems like it's taken directly out of Battlefield 4.
Half the player count.
Yeah, they keep saying like, 32 player battle. It's like, yeah. And the new CEO looked all types of crazy.
And in there, they showed some Mirror's Edge 2 stuff, though it was just kind of like prototypey again. So
right,
yeah.
So I don't know. For me, like the EA press conference was like bad, the worst. The worst of the day for sure. And just like scattered all over the place, like unfocused, totally unfocused, and they just didn't seem like they had their shit together. And that's a weird thing to say about a company like EA. Like they always at least seem like they sort of know what they're doing, even if they're making mistakes. It seems like they're making them deliberately. Now you're just like, I don't know what the fuck this company is anymore, and I don't know that they know either.
I mean, they had it together enough to put that pyro sequence together for the very end, but that was about it.
The Battlefield Hardline beta is live.
And after that, it was Ubisoft.
Let's see what you got, Charlie.
3, 2, 1.
You're the roast of my beef, the mash to my potato, the extra cheese on my burrito. You're the cream of the cream on my sweet little thing. You're the dish of the day. Now where do I begin? Shh.
Stop. Shoot. It's fucking job, but you couldn't fucking do that!
I'm really starting to appreciate the way that Ubisoft is out of their fucking minds. Like on a year-to-year basis, like that company's just crazy.
We're Ubisoft!
Yeah, their press conferences are very high energy, and they found it. For the longest time, the Ubisoft press conference was something you're like, oh, I don't want to go to this thing. It's going to be a nightmare. But the last few years, Aisha Tyler's been a great host for them, and you know their game catalog, I think, has come a long way. Like they've really like tightened it up over the past handful of years here. And the thing that, so the Division is probably the first big thing there.
Yeah.
You know, again, another one of those trailers that's like they're showing fake online chatter from people, and that always looks really weird, but
because they're trying to simulate what it's like, the idealized version of a multiplayer game,
and that's what they showed at Microsoft.
In a canned demo.
Yeah,
so we got just a dramatized trailer.
At Ubisoft, it was just a trailer, and I don't know, like I still think that game looks potentially really amazing, and I don't know, we'll see. They're saying it's out 2015.
Yeah, the one thing, like, I'm starting, as much as I appreciate the character of Ubisoft as a company, like, you look at the original Watch Dogs demo, you look at a little bit what's going on with the Division, you look at what we'll get to later with Rainbow Six, and like, I'm getting a little tired of their like very canned, like, this is how the game is going to be presentations. Makes you just a little bit, you appreciate that, like, they try and actually make it look like a game, but hard to not get a little bit suspicious about that stuff.
Yeah, they've definitely, I mean, you know, with Watch Dogs being out and looking back at those demos, you're like, I don't know that I believe anything you show anymore. It's hard to believe it, but
it's the model home quality. It's the idealized version of what they're trying to do, but you have to take it with several grains of salt.
They showed more Assassins. I think it looked good there too. They showed Shape Up, which is a Kinect fitness game that I thought was kind of cool, like a lot of weird mini game stuff, like almost like a retro game style to it. But it's
fight yourself. You're fighting against yourself, and as a self-loather myself, I'm way into that idea.
Yeah.
I want to fight me.
I wondered if you can just like download Gary Steinman into the game and fight against him, though. They showed Valiant Hearts, which they showed off a little while ago. It's like kind of
real bummer.
Yeah. UB Art engine on that one.
Yep.
World War I, a dog
talks and writes letters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wasn't
the
quite
dog
sure
cannot
about
write.
that.
The dog cannot write letters.
What if he did, though?
What if he did? And then they ended up closing with a new Rainbow Six, which was Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Siege? I'm looking at Siege. And that was they showed, it was another multiplayer thing with a lot of fake voice chat over it that was, hey, these bad guys are fortifying a house, they have a hostage in there, your team of operatives, cops, I don't know, with SWAT.
You didn't really get into
what it was,
setting.
But need to get in there, get the hostage, and get out. And it was a round-based thing. With it being in a house, it's a nice small map, and they were showing a lot of destructibility through the walls and stuff, and shooting outdoors and getting light in there that way, and just a lot of potentially very interesting stuff.
Like the idea that, they showed towards the end of the demo where they were trying to get into a hostage situation, and rather than going through the door, one of the players went up and around, put a charge on the ceiling, and then came down through there. Like the fact that, you see destructibility in games, but it's really tough to get the minutia of what you kind of when you think of Red Faction, it doesn't work that way, but your mind kind of remembers it that way, and it seems like this is Geomod 4.0.
Well, it's one of those things where, if destructibility is consistent and grand enough, it starts to play into your tactics.
Absolutely.
And that seemed to be what they were trying to get across there. Then they called it pre-alpha and all this other stuff. And
that's not what a pre-alpha game looks like.
Who knows if that was even real footage of anything.
Beta's been ruined, and now they're like, all right, now let's lay waste to alpha.
And then pre-alpha. So we've been working on this game for a week. I don't know. So they say they're having a live demo at their booth. Let's see what that even means. I have no idea. But it looked potentially very cool.
Yeah, premise-wise.
Premise-wise, like a 5-on-5 multiplayer, that sort of stuff with that amount of destructibility, I think it has a ton of potential. So with any luck, that'll be cool. So, yeah. And then there's Far Cry 4. They showed some Far Cry 4.
And I got blood on my fucking shoes.
Not a lot of it. The most of that was saved for the Sony press conference.
and you'll only be able to do that on PlayStation.
All right, Sony opened with Destiny, and if you want to know about Destiny, they're letting people play in that first look alpha, I guess this week.
Yeah, Thursday.
And also, we have a video up on the site of the first look alpha, so you should go check that out.
What?
So we played a bunch of Destiny, like in the hours before packing up and leaving the office. It's like, oh, I guess we'll download this Destiny thing and play. Actually, I like what I played. I think that game is really interesting. It's just, you have to wrap your mind around it, and like the stuff they've shown just seems weird. White PlayStation 4 with the Destiny bundle.
Yeah.
You gonna get a white PlayStation 4?
God, no, I already own one.
You gonna get a white PlayStation 4?
I'll let you buy one.
God damn it! I need a white PlayStation 4 partner
If
for
you
this
like, if
to
you like
happen.
broke your PlayStation 4, like if you just like kind of
Whoops! It's accidentally caught on fire. Oh no! Yeah, maybe that would work. Maybe that would work. They showed The Order, which I played. You can hear about that on our podcast. It looks good. They showed a different sequence that was, almost a little horror themed.
Yeah, very atmospheric,
Not
dark.
a lot of gameplay in that.
Yeah, a lot of. But it showed the transition in and out of cutscenes, which I think looks pretty cool. Little Big Planet 3, they've got multiple playable characters. Suma Digital's doing it.
Yeah, Media Molecule is not here and working on
something else. Backwards compatibility with old Little Big Planet, which
it still has the same physics.
Yeah.
So
Bloodborne.
Yeah, the king has returned. The director of Dark Souls didn't work on. He was just a consultant on Dark Souls 2. This is his brand new thing, and seems from all a PS4 exclusive, and doesn't have a lot of the kind of like gameplay bits that had leaked out of like the earlier parts that we'd seen when it was called like Project Beast. Dark Souls was called Project Dark, so there was sort of a consistency there in terms of the leaks. But man, I'm excited to see Kamiya making like another game. Like I know you guys have played a lot of Souls games, and you're very excited
totally.
for a new
I'm
Souls
basically
game.
just
And-
like, whoo, yeah, when it comes to that stuff.
You saw those guns, and you're like, "Oh, I'm in."
It's like, oh, finally, okay, yeah.
Now
That's
this
all
makes
it took.
sense.
It's like, is this a machine gunless game, or is it machine gun full? And it is machine gun full, so I'm pretty excited about it. They showed Far Cry 4 gameplay. Showed two-player co-op in the campaign. Dude flying this ridiculous helicopter. Claimed that you'll be able to play that two-player experience. You'll be able to join other people's games even if you don't own the game. That sounds like chaos, but sure, fuck it. I don't know.
Who cares? Because like wingsuit and crazy helicopter and elephants and shit.
Whatever,
like,
playing alone, big elephants and wingsuits and grapple hooks and all sorts of. I thought that looked great. Just driving, shooting out of the car while you're driving. Some
just like the wingsuit,
good-looking chaos.
The wingsuit was so much fun in 3. There just weren't a lot of opportunities to use it. And it seems like the Himalayas will gravitate themselves to there's a ton of elevation.
Yeah. They're mountains.
You'll find yourself when you kind of just roll off an edge, just pop on that wingsuit and you can kind of make
Assuming
your way
you
somewhere.
have one.
Yeah,
You might be totally fucked. Dead Island 2.
Yeah. Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Very different tone for Dead Island. Much more weird and irreverent. And then maybe Jack Black voicing that main character?
Hold on! Seriously, bro? Sweet! Come on, dude, time to split. Freaking awesome!
Possibly? Who knows?
I bet it's not.
Probably
It sounds
not.
like it. It sounds a lot like
They would have said something.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would have. Yeah, they'd be out there talking about that. But that's not developed by Techland, who did the original games.
Right.
That's
They're working on Dying Light.
Yeah, that's Jaeger, who did Spec Ops: The Line,
which was an interesting game.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot.
An irreverent game, certainly. Very, very humorous.
So maybe they'll keep the analog combat in. And,
that's my first question.
Yeah.
I want to know
it's coming out of Dying Light. It's not in Dying Light.
Right, yeah, they took that out, and I'm curious if is Dead Island 2 in name only, and it's more or less just like Jaeger making a zombie game, or is it actually like an evolution of Dead Island? Because Dying Light is really the evolution of it. Like it gets weird,
it's a weird
really
lineage.
quickly.
Hello Games was there to show No Man's Sky,
Yep.
which continues to look fantastic. Big dinosaur planet and all kinds of crazy.
Yeah,
shit.
you show me a brontosaurus, and
you're on board. I know that. So big procedurally generated thing. Still not a lot of word on what that game is other than the exploration aspect of it. So, what are you going to do? You're going to craft? What are you going to do? You're going to shoot?
What's the end game? What are you working towards? Is it just exploration? Like, you filling a logbook? I mean, we're going to see that game later this week and talk to those guys, so hopefully we'll get a better sense of that.
Get a better sense of that for sure. Let It Die, Suda's game. Suda 51
I don't
game.
know what to make of that.
Bad
It's
trailer.
Dark, gritty multiplayer live action thing, trying to be super gory. Just didn't seem like I don't know what that game even really entails, and I didn't get a lot of appeal out of that.
Well, how about this for crazy things? Grim Fandango is coming to the PlayStation 4. They're remaking Grim Fandango for PS4 and I guess other platforms eventually, but they didn't show any of it. They just kind of made the announcement, and what?
Yeah, I mean, Schaefer had mentioned that as soon as the Lucas stuff happened, they were looking into trying to do something with those old games. I thought, at the most it would just be like, hey, put them out on Steam. But the idea that, I think Adam Boyd said specifically, our third-party team is working with them to, build out some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what kind of revamp that actually is.
Yeah. They got into a bit of they got mired in a lot of hardware and other talk. They announced the Vita TV coming to the U.S. as the PlayStation TV. They started talking about services and free-to-play and television stuff that just, totally dismantled so much stuff.
Vib Ribbon.
Vib Ribbon was unafraid to go against the tide.
What the fuck?
They mentioned Vib Ribbon multiple times, and then
Monsters.
didn't have a game to go with it. I think that's
Look, if you're gonna talk about Vib Ribbon, you give us Vib Ribbon. You do not tease like that. That is some bullshit.
They also showed Mortal Kombat X, which is weird because I feel like I've had conversations with people where they have used the word 10.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know, but they showed some gameplay from that. Showed a couple of new characters that I thought looked interesting. Well, I'll see what they look like. They showed Sub-Zero and Scorpion. You can see kind of the Injustice influence in that game. They kind of finished it off with a bunch of partial fatalities, which was
Got really
pretty
brutal at the end there. Even I was getting a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's they definitely.
I mean, it's the game. I'm not saying oh, it was too violent. It was just too much. Stop.
Yeah.
That's what you can do when you're not
It was
on television.
It was the neck. It was the vertebrae. That's the one that really got me.
Yeah. Absolutely. GTA 5 is coming to current consoles and the PC.
Yep.
So that's happening this fall. They're going to let you transfer your online progress over into the new versions of the game, presumably through Social Club or something like that. Last of Us Remastered coming out July 29th.
No price.
No price?
Curious to see what that is.
What? Yeah. And then they closed it out with Uncharted 4. No real gameplay there, just a little CG-looking thing of.
Well, I think that was real.
You think that was real?
They said in the beginning, it's all captured on PS4 hardware, and it starts with this.
Captured on PS4 hardware. I could put a Blu-ray disc into a PS4.
That's a good point.
It's Naughty Dog. I mean, I'm not. That wasn't running through, seeing a big set piece, but those guys have earned the benefit of the doubt, and it was a good looking face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a good looking face. And then no gameplay, and it's out next year. And
it seems like they're going to kill Nathan Drake.
Hopefully, yeah.
That would be a real.
They're setting the tone for this being the last Uncharted, which it should be. Sometimes franchises just need to fucking end. And that's not to say that one way or the other on Uncharted, but give some people some fucking closure.
Yeah.
Stop. Make something else.
Thief's End is certainly a subtitle you would give to a game like that.
Unless he just stops becoming a thief and then he becomes a cop, and then you do 5 games of Nathan Drake, police detective, hard boiled.
I don't need that.
Him and Sully fighting crime.
I don't need it. I don't need that.
What if you got it anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I just kill him. Just fucking kill him.
Damn.
Just fucking
It's
kill
only
him.
David.
Ribbon, man, come on!
All right, yeah. So I think the Sony press conference started really strong and then hit this lull where I'm just like, Powers, come on. And then it didn't pick up. Yeah, it's there's this black spot of what happened? I just remember being sad.
Yeah.
I remember last year's conference being better, even though it had that one dude that just came out and talked about old movies. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know.
There wasn't anything from Quantic Dream.
Well, they did just put out a game last year.
Yeah.
They probably need another year or two.
Yeah. Check back with them in 4 years. They'll have a new idea for a game.
Yeah.
Passive aggressive.
What? Yeah. So I don't know. There's definitely some big stuff at Sony. But yeah, I feel like just tonally and stuff like that, they didn't hit it like they hit it last year. But last year was such a crazy
generational transition.
That it's impossible to duplicate that. So. Overall, some good games. That's all that matters. I feel like we got some good games for this year and next year out of this stuff, and all that's left at this point is Nintendo. So we're gonna have to wait and see kind of how they hold up with their little digital event stream and all that other stuff, and they'll be showing some games at the show, and we're going to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it or not.
Like it or not, tomorrow we're going to go to the show. We're going to play video games. I'm excited to play some of these video games. So we're going to go get some sleep and then check out some video games. And thanks for watching, you guys.
Vib Ribbon was unafraid to go against the tide.
Fucking job, but you couldn't fucking do that!
Bullshit.